Very glad not to be a central banker these days, in particular in Europe. Interest rate might go up a little bit, inflation concerns and so on and so forth. On the other hand, where is the growth in Europe? Is lagging the US growth, so you can kill the growth immediately. So it's a very tricky balancing act. But let's not forget, inflation is not only a central bank key task to be addressed. It's the supply chain disruptions that we have that is driving a lot of the prices up. So a lot needs to happen in the real economy and also from a public policy perspective to fight, call it, inflation and potential stagflation.
Mm-hmm. I'd be remiss if I don't ask you the obvious question, because we don't get to talk to you very often. I normally catch up with Thomas on the earnings. But we know Artisan Partners are arguing that you should be changing the CEO at this stage. I think you have pledged your support behind Thomas. Can I just ask you on this very public platform, have any conversations taken place about replacing Thomas, and do you fully back him going forward as CEO at Credit Suisse?
Yes, I fully back him because he's good. It's a very challenging situation for the company, but we have a clear plan. We are executing on that plan. So we are rebuilding basically the company. So in this regard, all the rumors and speculations, I have read them as well. It's rumors and speculations. And by the way, there are other investors that call me and say, Axel, make sure that you stabilize the company and don't change all the wheels at the same time.
So I just want to clarify. Rival news organisations to ours have reported as fact, people close to the situation have said talks have taken place. Is that wrong? That's not factually correct.
They didn't speak to me, and I know that has not taken place. So it's wrong.
So the market still has a very low valuation of Credit Suisse on one of the best measures for valuing against your peers on a price to book. You're trading significantly lower than the bank across the street and others in the sector as well. Why is it, do you think, the market isn't convinced about the recovery plan and are not treating Credit Suisse as a recovery stock yet?
Look, we had last year the largest loss in history, 5 billion to Dragos. This is shaking up a company. We had a lot of incremental additional shake-ups. The market, I think, understands we don't have a balance sheet or liquidity crisis, but the market believes are there more skeletons? It's a governance, it's a crisis of confidence. We had been involved in too many scandals. So what we need is execution of our plans and making sure, hopefully, that we get a little bit out of the news, so no scandal anymore. And then, valuation will gradually come back, but it will take time. It's a question of reputation and confidence.
I think it is, and I think it's a reputation and confidence and culture as well. I worked for a French bank in the 90s that had a culture problem, so we had a series of scandals and crises, and that bank no longer is a banner establishment anymore. Nothing to do with me, I hasten to add. Have you got a culture problem at Credit Suisse? Have you had a culture problem, and have you addressed that?
Look, what we have, I think 80–90% of the organization is great, with great people, and things have been managed very diligently, very well. But we had too many one-offs here, there, and so on. Yes, we need to have a cultural transformation. We need to have, we are a company that is claiming we are the bank for entrepreneurs. We behave somewhat entrepreneurial, but that should not mean that we have a lack of discipline. So we need to bring back some discipline in how we manage risks in the organization, how we escalate in the organization. So it's a deeper cultural issue, but it's well identified, can be addressed, and it's a step-by-step process.
Just on the AGM, obviously the one vote that went against you was really about whether the previous management teams should be absolved of responsibility for some of the very high-profile problems that the bank has experienced. That went against the management team. What are you doing about that now? What's the follow-up after the loss of that vote, effectively?
Yeah, look, the important thing and the good thing is we got the so-called discharge for 2021, and I joined just in October. Yeah, it's an expression of a lot of disappointed, disgruntled shareholders, and that's why they said we don't want to give the discharge. So obviously for us that's an additional motivation to get things right into the place where it should be and bring the company really fully back on track. And then we'll take a decision next spring when we come to an additional AGM, and we'll see if we will ask for the discharge for that year specific or not.
me just ask you a final question about the European banking sector. A lot of banks, from Deutsche to Barclays to Credit Suisse, have tried to take on the Americans comprehensively, universal banking services and investment banking. We've got a bloody nose here in Europe from doing that as well. Is there a future for European investment banks taking on the Americans? Do we have just a different attitude to banking here in Europe, which means that it's just not going to happen on a global basis?
Yes, look, I can give you our answer. I think we said goodbye to the fully fledged investment bank operation covering all customer segments and products. It's much more about focus. And for us, the key focus will be to even better align the investment bank with the key needs we have from a wealth management and for our entrepreneurs that are our clients. So to have a focused investment bank, I think I'm all in. To have a broad-based, fully fledged investment bank, that's very challenging. Regulatory environment and then balance sheet size.